Wunderbar. Welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Anina.
I'm a Jessie.
Today we're reacting to Blaire
You're
White.
holding up your titties.
Blaire White reacted to haters. Trans people who hate her. And,
Hater.
and we're going to react to it right now. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit, though.
So this is the one that everyone has been sending me this week because Lily Tino, you know, the infamous pregnant trans person who like goes and harasses service industry workers and gets rage bait content.
Thank you. I'm not sir. Did you call me sir? I just want to tell you that the person who gave me this called me sir. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not sir. Yeah, like it's like a knife in the heart. I did specifically ask ahead of time not to be called sir.
And makes videos about being in bathrooms with little girls.
I was just in the women's room at a cheesecake factory, and when I walked in, there was this little girl, like 3 years old, tops.
And has accusations against them for sexual misconduct. And, you know, that scary one. This one had the nerve to make a video about me this week. So that's what everyone's sending me. So we're going to react.
In the movies, we see people betray their own kind all the time, but sadly, it's also happening in the trans community. Take Blaire White, for example.
Oh, do you remember when we watched that video of Ty Rivera and he was talking about Lily Tino and how someone sent him Lily Tino OnlyFans pictures and he's like, I can confirm. The
Ew.
cake pops are removed and
Yeah, we
all
have
that's
people in
left
the
is the bag
comments.
the cake pops are in.
Oh, yes. We have people in the comments who've confirmed it too.
Oh, it's so nasty.
Thanks for being so informed, audience.
Thank
we
you so much.
appreciate you.
She is
That's a
a
cute picture.
trans woman, albeit a conservative one. But instead of
that-
advocating for change or pushing people to be more accepting with her very large platform, Blaire throws trans people under the bus in order to be seen.
Really? I'm throwing you under the bus. I couldn't lift you if I tried. No one's moving you. You're planted. One thing about it, when you're talking about our own kind, right? Our kind, us, I have nothing in common with you. Quite literally, I don't even think you were actually transgender. And so
It's almost like he's saying that like if I'm a lesbian and you're a lesbian, then I can't talk bad about you as another lesbian because I'm a lesbian too.
If you know anything about women, especially lesbian women, you'll know a lot of them are just catty.
See, that just proves he's not a trans woman. Because if a trans woman, like a man who really wants to be a woman, will at least try to think like a woman. And a woman knows better. A woman knows that women throw each other under the bus all the time.
It's also completely hypocritical because you're actively throwing Blaire under the bus, claiming that this is one of our kind while you're eating one of your own.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not a part of that. It's not like you're not doing that. It's not like you are taking a stand against it. You're actively doing the same thing right back. It's called hypocrisy.
Yeah. And it's so funny because he's being hypocritical at the same time that he's saying she's a hypocrite. He's actively being hypocritical.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
See, maybe, do you think the estrogen that they pump into their bodies makes them dumber? Or is this just au naturel?
I don't think so because Blaire's not as challenged as Lily Tino clearly is.
Is challenged. You're right. I think that's just who he is.
Look at the difference. You always want to talk about passability, right?
Yeah.
Look at your screen and tell me which one you might swipe right on if you were on Tinder.
Okay. I get your point.
You know what I'm saying? They're not the same anyways. But
Right.
to claim they're the same and do the same thing is hypocritical.
But do you think that they're all just jealous?
No, because Blaire's not jealous of these people.
No, are they all just jealous of her? Because
That's
she
the problem.
passes.
They're all jealous of each other and the attention the others get. Not Blaire, but the ones,
Okay.
the little like peons on TikTok.
Yeah.
They're all jealous of each other and the attention that others receive. Unless they're receiving all the attention, they don't care.
But that's just
why-
narcissism. That's not trans.
Yeah, that's what all of this is. If you're transitioning and putting it on social media and asking for people to validate you, that is clearly narcissism.
Narcissists with long hair and in a dress.
Yeah, who
That's
need...
it. That's not trans. We need to make a new word.
They won't accept it. Haven't you learned?
I don't care if they accept it. I want to make one.
Yeah, AGP.
AGP is that would be a narcissist in a dress and a okay. We need to come up with a new name though.
Oh, I'm sorry, that my official name. Yeah, I thought you didn't like them coming up with new shit all the time. Isn't that half the problem?
But I think
we
it
could
would
do
be
better.
good.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm going to think about it.
You think about it.
I'll come back to you on it.
Common with you. Quite literally, I don't even think you were actually transgender. And so, the things that you and I have in common, the list is smaller than your IQ. I will say, this is actually a very nice video. Y'all said it was a hate video. I'm actually very relieved and flattered that you would create distance between us even more than there already is for anybody that has, eyes to see, ears to hear, right? Skin to shiver in fear when they see your ass. I'm glad that you're distancing yourself because this is only a good look for me and other transsexuals who want nothing to do with you, which is like almost all of them. Like I've seen people roasting you, trans people roasting you on TikTok way more than I do, first of all. Nobody thinks you're like an okay specimen. Nobody thinks that your presence is in any way kosher on that ass, okay? And by the way, it's not enough you gotta harass people in restaurants. You're up in a movie theater with a ring light on your phone recording and talking. You are just a pest, a whole pest. Trans or not, can you just not be ghetto in the movie theater?
As one of the good ones.
Lily Tino's like a fart.
Worse.
Anytime he enters a room, he's bothering somebody.
No, it's worse than a fart. Well, Lily Tino's like stepping on dog shit. You have to get the dog shit out of the crevices. You really have to work to get rid of that fucking asshole.
But what I'm saying is, like, wherever he goes,
He bothers everyone around
he's a
him.
fart. Yeah. He's a slow-moving fart,
Jesus Christ.
you know?
Yeah,
I couldn't think of a better analogy.
I understand. He's crop dusting everyone in the room.
Yes, anytime he enters one.
By conservatives. For
have
example,
one
Blaire
line.
is on the record saying that trans kids don't exist.
There is no such thing as a transgender child in it. Period. Period. I'm not just standing on that. I'm sitting on that. I'm relaxing on that. I'm chilling. Because I agree with that. Not only is there now an actual pretty sizable divide in the actual trans community on if children transitioning is good or bad, when there used to be just unanimous, everyone's for it, the world has really come to understand that this is like some barbarian You're a barbarian. And advocating for that, and just existing the way in which you do, right? Existing in the context that you do, right? That's just not okay. But also supporting these things out loud as a trans influencer, again, please create more distance. Please. That is such a worse look. Y'all lost yourselves the election. You took back actual trans acceptance to like the gutter. Like the gutter. And you still want to be up here on camera acting like
Yeah, you killed trans people as far as like their representation, but you also killed the approval rating of Democrats.
Yeah, trans is like, man, I need to get better with analogies. They need to write a book about how to be better with analogies.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that anything trans touches turns to caca.
It's like the opposite of the Midas touch. Instead of turning it to gold, you turn it to literal liquid
What's
diarrhea.
the opposite of Midas touch?
I don't know, the doo-doo touch.
The cheese touch.
There's that one episode of Family Guy where everything Peter looked at or touched turned into Robin Williams.
I don't know. I need to think of better analogies.
Okay.
But yeah, anything trans touches turns to caca-poo-poo.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the Midas touch.
Yes.
your ideas have not already been found out as fake as hell, like you. Quite fraudulent. And I'm sorry if I'm crashing out a little bit, but I really do just feel like as long as there are people like Lily Tino, like the feeling is mutual. For you to act like my existence is just so freakish and so crazy because I have different opinions than you, I feel like your existence is actually one of the main things setting trans bitch back. I feel like as long as there is the example of you and some other people like you out there, trans acceptance is going nowhere. Sometimes I literally just think about how like psychotic it is to be part of, even though I don't consider myself part of it, to be like in a group of people that you get called out for being normal.
Blaire has a good point. I'm losing my train of thought too. But it's people like Lily Tino that give you a bad taste for trans people in your mouth. It's not people like Blaire. You don't see Blaire or even hear Blaire talking conservative and think, oh my God, all trans people are like this. You know what I mean? It's Lily Tino giving a bad taste. It's that complaining about the women's restroom. Remember the one with the beard?
Yeah.
It's people like that that give them a bad name. If every trans person was
true.
Blaire White, we wouldn't have this debate right now.
That's very true.
If every trans person was Blaire White, Buck Angel, we wouldn't be having this problem because they stay in their lane respectfully. But they don't. We see people like Tino who do not stay in their lane with any respect for women.
Also, never use the words trans woman and my mouth in the same sentence.
Me?
Yeah.
What did I say?
It leaves a bad taste of trans people in your mouth. She said something like that. And I'm like,
Well,
this
it's still
sounds
true.
so wrong.
But it's still true. You
Oh,
know what I mean.
Two things can be correct at once. Or one thing can be repulsive and one thing can be correct.
Like, you get called out for just having like standard opinions, like don't sterilize kids. That's the thing that gets you the out group, the outcast status in that group, and that's just like really demented. It's like, oh, I don't think like women should.
Where else would he be?
I'm just saying. Sitting around a bunch of children.
Well, it definitely wouldn't be Snow White because it'd be empty.
Really demented. It's like, oh, I don't think like women should beat men should beat women's asses in sports. I don't think kids should be sterilized. Like, I know it's like the same song and dance we've been talking about here for so long on this channel, but sometimes I actually stop and think about it and I'm like, what is going on? What is that? It gives complete cult. It gives like, what's the name of that cult where they drank the Kool-Aid or whatever?
Oh, Heaven's Gate?
Devil's Gate.
Jonestown did as well, and Heaven's Gate also did.
Yeah.
So,
Lots of Kool-Aid.
yeah, lots of
Well,
Kool-Aid.
wasn't Jonestown Flavor Aid the knockoff Kool-Aid?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I got all the Jeopardy questions tonight.
Heaven's Gate. That was bougie.
Hell's Gate with these ones because it's like that. And it is actually fascinating how, per usual, they don't actually like debate what I say in the clip that they use. They just paint it as like, this is what a bad person says. This is what a bad person says. So it's never like, she's wrong because it's more like, she's a bad person. How then I say that as a transgender adult.
Which is simply not true. And if
Why?
you're thinking that that's a weird take for a trans person to
See, and then just move on. Why? Why is it a weird take? Moving on.
I agree with you. Her being trans gives the take some weird legitimacy so that conservatives can point to it and say, hey, look at this, even a trans person.
God forbid I'm speaking in a way that's legitimate. I'm giving legitimacy to the topic. Holy shit. This is what I mean. This is the inversion. She's talking in a way that just makes her seem legitimate. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. And I know in particular for you, Lily, you definitely think a little more with the downstairs than the upstairs.
Agreed.
It's funny to me that you can complain about Blaire White giving conservatives legitimacy when legitimately you've given so many conservatives so much money off of videos
So-
and YouTube and reactions. So when you complain about Blaire White giving the conservatives legitimacy, I want you to hold that mirror up and smile nice and big. And remember that you are too.
Yeah. Like Napoleon said, don't interrupt your enemies when they're making mistakes. And the trans movement has been making so many mistakes by keeping their mouths open and letting words flow out.
Just fly out.
But it's really easy for them to do because they're narcissists.
Attention whores.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter even if he knew that what he was doing was setting trans people back. Number one, he wouldn't accept it because heaven forbid he ever do anything wrong. And number two, he wouldn't care because he's getting attention. Who cares what happens to other
that trans person back, so
Right,
yeah.
exactly. It's not bothering me, so who cares about it? So he is a prime example of someone who would throw a trans person under the bus.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Seen that. We've all seen that. But every once in a while, maybe just run the equation through your brain a little bit. So far, Blaire White's a bad person because she's against kids being sterilized and because she comes across as legitimate.
A trans person thinks that trans people are crazy. Now, it's worth pointing out the irony that the conservatives who use Blaire as ammunition against the trans community will never accept Blaire as a woman. Deep down, Blaire understands this, but she just doesn't care.
That's actually true. I actually don't care at all.
Yeah.
That's like,
Why do you need to care? As long as you accept yourself, doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
it's crazy because it's almost like the sentence that you just said negatively is what we wish that everyone would do, which is just concern
Yeah.
yourself with yourself and don't worry about other people.
Yeah, it's really simple. You don't need affirmation from strangers as long as you're comfortable with yourself. Why does it matter?
I don't care if someone views our relationship as valid, be it because we're lesbians or be it because of our age gap. I don't care if people view it as valid because I will still continue to be in the relationship with you.
Are they sleeping in bed with us? No. So why do I care?
It's not going to break us up. It's not going to change the way I feel. And this should be the same way that you'd apply to the transitioning. It doesn't make me less of a woman to be in a lesbian relationship because there's like old-fashioned question of who wears the pants. I don't think
we both wear pants.
I don't think that applies, you know. But just to stick in your lane and just not give a shit about what other people think. That's the beauty of America. That's where the freedom really is.
Yeah,
is to not care what other people think
or what other people do, as long as it's not hurting anybody else
that's
or
where the
themselves.
freedom is.
But it's when the trans people start pushing their way into our rights, sports, and spaces, that's when we have a problem. Now you're not just living your own life. Now you're trying to invade
You're not
mine.
giving freedom to other people. You're taking the freedom from other people.
Yeah, and you can't do that because that's not actually freedom.
I know that everyone around me has the right to dismiss whatever marriage I want to have in the future.
Yeah, oh well.
It doesn't matter because as long as I legally get what I need from a marriage... then I am getting what I need out of a relationship, out of my partner. I don't care if they legally have to write you in as a man.
Do you think that they don't like us in Blaire?
Yes.
Because we don't care what other people think, and they do?
Literally, that's what's happening right now. That's what was, they just spent 10 minutes talking about that, and you're like, do you think? Yes.
Are you trying to call me stupid?
No, I would never. You're high.
You're lying.
I'm not calling you stupid. Don't be mean. You know
Who thinks of...
No, that's a gaslighting move, isn't it? I'm not calling you stupid. Don't be mean.
I'm not calling you stupid. You missed that entire part.
And continue.
thinks of me as a woman or not. I really don't care. Like, I don't care if the last thing that a conservative says...
It's like, I don't care if you call me stupid. I don't care.
Well, there you go.
I care a little bit. Where's my fifis? I would never call you
Where are
stupid.
my fifis?
I would never call you stupid. You know that. I've never wanted...
Before they lay their head down at night, they say their prayers, and then the prayer's over, they have one last thing to say mentally to themselves, Blaire White is a man. I don't care if every single one of them did that. And I don't care that people like you will say that I'm a woman because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman, because I'm a woman. Like, I actually don't care. And since Lily Tino is reporting live from another business, I will give you some of my business right now. I will spill a little tea on some behind-the-scenes stuff if you want to know a little bit about conservative media, right-wing media, and all the pundits. I have legitimately never, ever, ever met a single one. Think of the most anti-trans, least likely to be pro-trans, I will never use pronouns as Republican. Picture that one in your head, and I guarantee you I probably also met them. I have never been called he by a single one. And it's not because they avoid using pronouns, it's because they say she every time. And I don't really care because at the end of the day, the entire argument over pronouns, y'all are the ones that created that. Pronouns are, when they're not being politicized, just subconscious words we speak when we interact with people. No one's running the gamut in their brain to every person they see to figure out if they're a male or female first and wonder about pronouns. They just subconsciously see a person, and if it looks like a woman, it looks like a woman, it's a she, and vice versa for he. That's actually how pronouns work. So the only one making some retarded, convoluted mess out of it is y'all, and now the conservatives in a lot of ways. But that's the point, because when you don't politicize pronouns, people aren't even tempted to misgender you. But you actually have to also transition. So, you know, that's a hard one for a lot of people who call themselves trans now.
Is this post FFS?
Is it what?
Is this post FFS? Lily got FFS.
Lily got... How?
Look at the surprised look.
Mm-hmm. Look at the forehead.
Yeah.
It's all red still.
You can tell. Also, he's got that little indentation
Has that
that
little
hasn't gone away. So, yeah.
I don't know. I'm dead.
Really?
Lily got FFS, and they were
When?
They were sharing the before and after pictures on X, and it was.
But this was posted like 3 days ago, so this has to be after that.
And I'm feeling good.
I will get a refund.
For a free pass from harassment and discrimination.
Literally everyone on the internet has said the same goddamn thing. No progress was made from the $20,000 face surgery you got.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
I'm not sure if that's accurate, but it's got to be at least close to that price tag.
With all the stuff that was done?
Everything, yeah. I mean, at least.
In return for selling out her own people.
You are not my people. I swear to God, you are not my people. First of all, not on a physical level, not on a mental level.
Thinking of something, you know.
I was thinking about how Blaire is like legit half Mexican, and this fucking blue-eyed motherfucking incel is sitting there like, we're the same. We have the same lived experience. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know how I can tell? Because I don't hear male in Blaire's voice. All I see over you is fucking testicles. Your face, testicles. Your body, testicles.
Ew.
And I'm like, what am I? Well, I'm sorry. Did you want the answer? His face looks like a nutsack. What do you want from me?
I was thinking, before this whole trans craze started, people never talked about trans, right? And people never...
Kinda.
Pretty much.
It's more rare.
It was very... Yeah, exactly. But the pronouns thing wasn't an issue with people. They'd say she if they, you know, like people were way more lax about it. But when these fools started talking, people were like, oh, well, you guys are kind of assholes. I'm not going to respect you by giving you your preferred pronouns. You know what I mean? I feel like because they kept talking and acting like jerks, people were like, no,
Never mind.
You don't deserve it. No, never mind. We're not playing this game.
It's
now.
not even just you don't deserve it. People are like, well, like, Tino, don't look it. And how do you expect someone to say something they don't see?
That's also a fair point.
Not on a mental level, not on a spiritual level especially. I'm actually on the opposite end of devilry. Y'all want to talk about a gender spectrum? Okay, a spiritual spectrum of devilry to doing my best to serve the light at all times while falling short. It's a long jump, right? And I know, Lily, that you are in altercations constantly, right? You're just always up in some drama in a restaurant, getting harassed, unfortunately, by some less than minimum wage waitstaff. And then you have to expose them, and it's the whole process. But I actually promise you, another behind the scenes of Blaire's life, right? A little BTS. I have never in my life had anybody be transphobic, if that constitutes like calling me a tranny, calling me a man, like telling me get the fuck out because of this, like telling me whatever. I actually think it hasn't happened a single time in my life. I'm like struggling to think of a time.
With Candace, but we like...
But that was, okay, but I'm talking about real life. That's still internet. Like, we're filming a video for the internet. And so people can try to frame it as me, like, thinking I'm, like, better than someone because I am able to exist in the world in a way that's, like, respectful of other people. Like, bare minimum type stuff, like coming out the caveman and cavewomen, like, just getting out the cave with that, like, basic respect stuff. Just because you're not capable of that, and why, unfortunately, the trans community is capable of that kind of sparingly, which we have to work on. And that's actually the entire purpose of why I started talking about this topic, because I'm actually trying to raise the vibration a bit in the trans community, like just a bit. I don't get harassed by women. I don't get harassed by even other trans people. I don't get harassed by men. Although this might be the closest I've come to feeling harassed by a man in a while, I have to be so honest.
I'm a trans girl. Of course I'm gonna want representation in the media. Just not by Blaire White. I'm a trans girl. Of course I've had to learn that gay men shouldn't be my type.
Oh my God, you know what? I've never said I want more lesbian representation in media.
Me either. You know what I've never seen?
I
is
didn't care.
Someone who's walking around with their face looking like AI. Put it on them. That face does not look like it goes with that body at all.
Or with the voice.
None of it works.
I'm a trans girl. Of course I raise the pitch of my voice around people who could be conservative.
Wow, looks a lot like a Dylan.
Hold on, so you're only going to try around people that disagree with you? That's weird.
You're only going to work on your vocal training in front of conservatives.
Yeah, that's very, very strange.
Ooh. That was like painfully awkward.
The voice thing?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm looking at pain for sure. I'm definitely looking at pain. I'm looking at something that has convinced you.
Ooh, you know what the thing is too? Is he also has a man midriff.
Body.
He's got a
man body with women tits for no reason.
Yeah, he's got the man midriff.
Man hands, and then the man neck. Look at how big and thick that neck is.
Right, here's the problem: is women usually have some sort of
Hips?
a belly or hips. It's very noticeable.
This is a very straight down.
Yeah, and the stomach looks like a man who used to do sit-ups and then stopped. But it doesn't look like a woman who used to do sit-ups and stop, because you'll be able to see the shape of the you know, that it's not like a gut, but it's the small belly pouch that a lot of girls have, unless you're like anorexic.
I'm fat. I don't know what you're talking about.
You, going along with your little line, of course I want representation, just not Blaire White. Then who's doing it right? Excluding you, because that's a given. We're at zero with you, right? It's giving actually nothing. So other than me, who's like doing it right? Lily Tino from the video before? Have you made a we don't like Lily Tino video, or just fix your little TikTok fingers to do a we don't like Blaire White video?
Or you have Hunter Schafer, right? The trans woman who said that he wants to feel more like a woman. That's your representation, right? That's what you like?
I haven't seen real good representation from the trans community as far as trans women
Well, maybe
go.
we could call out Caitlyn Jenner here, who also said that men should not be in women's sports. Do you want to talk about Caitlyn Jenner, maybe?
Yeah, but
is that the
when you-
representation you want?
You're thinking you would want someone who passes also.
These are just these are people who are representative of trans people in media, social media, online. That's their representation. You have representation.
But a lot of them don't pass.
If you're 1% of the community, then why are you not okay with these 3 or 4 people that we just listed off being your representation? Because as far as I'm concerned, the numbers are numbering. Just because you don't agree with their political stance, I don't agree with the political stance of every lesbian out there.
Oh, so that's
look
for
at
damn
JoJo
sure.
Siwa. Look
Ooh.
at fucking Chapel Roan. Look at all these people that we're supposed to.
These are fake
agree with.
lesbians. You mean
But-
Ellen? Ellen's a lesbian. Okay.
My point is
don't
that
agree.
those are our representations, regardless
Yeah.
if we like them or not.
We don't agree with their political
But
stances.
we don't say that they're not lesbian. There aren't lesbians that are being represented. We never
they're
say
still
that.
lesbians.
They're still being represented as lesbians.
Yeah, yeah.
Therefore, this
just
point is null and void.
Yeah.
There's no water to be fucking sipped here. There's nothing.
I mean, Ellen gets called a bitch, right? I don't agree with her politically, and she does some dumb shit. But for many, many years, she was great representation, so I ain't gonna hate on her now.
And regardless, she
even
is
if
a lesbian who is famous.
Yeah, exactly.
And
She
that shows
is lesbian.
that a lesbian can be represented and become famous.
Yeah, and she was
there's
likable for a very long
And
time.
there's many other lesbians out there. Now, I know that she was like a groundbreaker for the time, but now, I listed off a bunch of them who are all lesbians, believe them or not, but they're still representing lesbians in media. You have people representing trans individuals in media.
Yeah.
Shut the f*** up about not having representation, because you have it. You have it.
It's just not the ones they like.
It's not what you want, but you have it.
Because she's like normal. That's the craziest part. That's the craziest part. And it's weird to be like the crazy person of a group like this, because all it is just like level normal that I think. Like the entire rest of the population, basically, except this small trans community, thinks mostly in line with the way I do. And even the ones who disagree, if you were to give them the actual facts, I think most people would land pretty much where I do. Which is leave kids alone, adults do your thing, but be fucking respectful. That's really the overall message of this channel. And so if that's not something you want representing you, which first of all, I don't represent you, you're right. I'm representing me, and to the best of my ability, God. You, we can talk about what deities are circulating you. We can talk about that. But instead of going there, I would just, offer a little bit of an encouragement for some self-awareness, for some sobriety, if that's what's actually clogging the vision here. If it's just drugs, okay, stop those. But if it's just that you're mistaken, I beg you to look around at any other trans representation and tell me what they are doing positive. Like what gains are being made. Because y'all maybe were able to say this in 2016, 2017, when I wasn't, had a big of a platform, and maybe I was a bit early on certain topics, but what have I ever been wrong about? What have I ever even said was going to come to pass and didn't? What have I ever actually lost a debate about when it comes to trans issues specifically? Nothing. So ask yourself why maybe society isn't exactly being won over by people like Lily Tino, you, Jeffrey Marsh, who's really doing it? Who are we looking for here? Dylan Mulvaney. Oh yeah, Dylan has made such great strides for the trans community. I would actually attribute 30% of the crash to that hoe. And there's a video of Dylan later in this video. But I guess if there was just anyone else doing anything productive, you would have an argument, but there's not.
The good news is, nigga, you came a long way. The bad news is, nigga, you went the wrong way. The good news is, nigga, you came a long way. The bad news is, nigga, you went the wrong way.
When I'm watching some of these TikToks, I feel like I'm watching the most awkward scene on Love on the Spectrum. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. And you're
So I've been trying to get Nina to watch Love on the Spectrum with me, and she won't do it. I haven't really started, but I keep getting caught in those shorts.
Yeah.
And it's just because it's like watching an awkward teen's first date.
Yeah.
And you want to like root for them though. You know, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You feel bad to laugh, but at the same time, you can't help it because it's just so goddamn funny sometimes. But it is awkward, isn't it? Just sitting there trying to like act cooler on TikTok. We started on TikTok originally, and then we left it because we realized how gay we had to be on TikTok.
Yeah, and corny, and too
sexualized also.
that too, and also you had to censor yourself so much you couldn't even be who you actually were. And it was retarded.
And you're mad at someone saying they like trans people and their frame of reference of that is me. That's probably a really cool person, I have to say. That's probably like a completely normal person who is more than willing to accept and engage with a trans person, and you're online bitching about it. It's crazy how the fucking goal is like, we gotta get acceptance, which is really just a broader term for make people like us. And this person's like saying it's wrong to like trans people if the reason is Blaire White. That's just so sick and twisted. You are twisted. And also, this one did have FTM in the tag, so this is a trans man. How about you act like one and stop attacking a woman on the internet? Bitch.
Blaire White is gonna say one thing. She definitely does have some like really weird like I'm nurturing to the conservative. Like I understand the fillers have feminized your face, but I post op boots. Like I know a thing or two.
She
I
fart?
did a podcast with her. Yes, I was shady to her.
Where? When?
I called her Claire.
Where?
I kind of feel bad about
Where?
that.
Where did you
No,
go?
I don't.
Where was that?
I don't care.
Where was?
No, Jeff, we're talking about. I don't know why all the girls hate me. I'm like, well, yes,
and all this?
yes, you do.
First of all, Xanax is a hell of a drug. Xanax is a hell of a drug. I have to just say that. And second of all, I felt like I was listening to a different language that entire time. I actually feel like I only understood like 3 words. And it wasn't even just a slurring. It was like, here's my hot take, my controversial take. This is a bit touchy, and this may upset some people. Do I care? Not really. I don't care who's mad gets so mad. I think there is an actual IQ problem in the trans community.
I'm telling you, it's the fucking hormones, man. Or
It's all the chemicals from the hair dye, honestly.
It's the chemicals. It's the maybe it's not the hormones. Maybe
It's the hair dye chemical, the blue hair dye. It's got the chemicals that make you go crazy.
something happens to your brain when you
You smack the hair dye on and leave it on for 45 minutes. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to broaden it in the broader LGBT community.
Is she wearing?
Not that we don't have some brilliant.
Is this trans bitch wearing some Spider-Man house headphones, or is that just the glare of the light? Because it looks like she is wearing Spider-Man headphones.
I'm telling you, it's because they're jealous. You looked at them, you listened to their voices, and you're like, I see why you don't like Blaire White.
The first one, it's ironic, because the one that looks more like a man sounds more like a woman. And
I
then
know.
The one that looks more like a woman is like, I called Blaire Claire.
Actually, I'm going to broaden it. In the broader LGBT community, I think it's not that we don't have some brilliant gays, right? We've had those. We have one brilliant trans. Just kidding, there's a few others. But it's like the curve is just, and I don't know if it's the literal drug use problem we have in the LGBT community, for which it's a big problem. And I know that can actually dampen your IQ as well, permanently. If that's the case, okay. But I'm wondering, is it a factor of their birth? Were they in fact born this way? Like the song. But I do remember going on a podcast.
Look at those eyes. That is Xanax. You're
yeah.
right.
It's a
And
slurring.
a lot of libtards are on Xanax. I used to be on it. Used to be on Xanax.
I took
used to be
Xanax
on.
at one point, but not like
I was on
a
every
lot.
single benzo at one point or another. But yes, they can't handle their emotions, right? They have panic attacks. They have anxiety, which is just, I think it's bullshit to begin with. A lot of them, I don't think, do have anxiety. They're just pussies. But they all have to be on Xanax because of that. So they all can't think. When you're on Xanax, you're not thinking clearly. I know what it's like to be on Xanax.
I never
You're
understood
not thinking
anyone who was
clearly.
addicted to Xanax, because for me, it just made me sleep.
Yeah. Your tolerance for it is very low. That's why. It'll make
Yeah,
it
because I only took
than
it.
sleep.
I only
Yeah.
took it when I was having full-on anxiety attacks.
Right, but for
as if
someone-
it was like that's the purpose of the medication.
Yes,
And
but
so-
they're not taking it for that purpose. They're taking it because it makes them feel loosey-goosey and, they can talk more relaxed and, just
Yeah, no, I would literally
not
pass
care
the fuck
as
out. I
much.
would get so worked up during my legitimate anxiety attack that I would take the Xanax, and like 20 minutes after, I'd fall asleep. That's why I never understood how people can take Xanax recreationally. What are you doing, having legitimate sleepovers? I don't understand.
They're taking it because it makes them feel like they're not anxious because they haven't ever worked through their own shit. They haven't been able to, like, when someone has never had to struggle really when it comes to having to combat other people face to face, or go through something detrimental that you have to face. These people have never had to face anything. So when they do, it makes them freak out because their vaginas, I mean, they wish they had them.
Clearly.
But their vaginas, they're pussies. And when you're a pussy, the only way you can deal with things is not to face it head on and be strong. It's to take a fucking pill. There's a difference between having anxiety and being a pussy. They're just pussies.
Clearly.
That's what this one was correct. And I think it was years ago, but it's fine. I don't actually remember you. I don't have any beef with you. And unlike your voice, it's really not that deep.
Trans Republican.
Oh!
Hello, Hollywood.
I wonder what it'd be like to make money off of like the far right and telling people that trans people are bad.
There's such a weird trans influencer pipeline to being conservative. Because at a certain point, they've mined all of the stuff that they could talk about. So then they go, I guess I'm now far right. And it's crazy.
Yes.
There's all these dolls on the internet who are like, I have guns. And it's like, what are you doing?
First of all, did they say my name? No. But I'm including it because who the fuck else could they be talking about? Because there's just such a plethora of right-wing trans women who post with guns. There's just such a plethora that, like, it'd be crazy for me to take this personally, right? Right. Dylan, I wonder what it would be.
They're talking about Blaire not having anything to talk about, so conservative.
They're saying Blaire was left and then went right, but Blaire's always been right.
Blaire's always been more right-wing. But they're the ones to talk. They have nothing to fucking talk about because they've said all the dumb shit they have to say, so now they're talking shit about other people.
Like they just said. I mean, they exposed themselves.
Yeah.
They had nothing else to talk about, so they're like, wow, conservative trannies. What are those?
We hate those.
Oh, that's a weird one. Oh, Dylan, come talk to us. You'll see how weird it is out here.
And Blaire's not, I've never heard Blaire say hate all trans people or some shit like that. No, see, that's what happens.
They didn't say that either, though. They said they're pushing and saying that trans people are bad.
That's not what Blaire said.
That's not what Blaire's ever said.
Right. If you are going to start bitching about someone, you better get your facts right about what they've actually said and don't just assume based on what other people have said they've said, because then you just look like the dumbass that you actually are, You
like to make money off of telling the right wing, blah, blah, blah. Dylan, I wonder what it would be like to make money doing the shit you do.
Here goes nothing. It's pink, it's kind of adorable, and it kind of looks like a butter churn.
I genuinely could never sink to such a low. The clownery is like, we need a different word for clown. It's like, clowns have much more dignity. I respect the behaviors of actual clowns more than yours. I really thought, call me white-pilled, call me a high hoper, right? Call me.
Just on the note of clowns, you have to go to an actual college to become a clown.
That's true.
All you have to do is identify to become Dylan.
I dated someone who went to clown college. After we dated, of course, but...
Wow. In the middle of sex, and she just started pulling, like, scarves out. Da, 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 da.
After we dated.
Watch this trick. Making balloon animals. No.
She was tying her labias in knots, yeah.
Ew. I feel like mine were at least more mysterious. Yours was just straight to the point.
Way to Lulu. I thought that after the election, and trans people had their ass handed to them so hard with a complete rejection of all of the things that they're fighting for. Like, I thought that maybe there would be like some self-reflection where people are like, you know what, maybe like it's that we're crazy. But that's like never what crazy people do. So for me to actually assume that was wrong on my part. And for the big one to say, I guess it's because once you mine all the content you can make and you run out of all the ideas, then you're far right. You can tell that these are like not meaningless people, but people without meaning, right? Like people with no purpose, people with no real convictions, because normal people's political views and opinions and ways of being are not dictated by an algorithm and like milking ideas until something works. That's what you guys do, right? That's why the theater kid thing didn't work out. So then the gay kid thing maybe worked out a little bit, but not enough for Dylan. And then it was non-binary, and then it was trans, and then it was day 666 of being a woman, right? Maybe that is how you guys operate. Like, let me just try to be all these different types of people and say all these different types of things and give these different opinions until something works. But I've been that far right tranny. Far right, but I've been me since day one, actually. I have always firmly been on one side of the political aisle. I don't milk a bunch of different ideas. I'm not a libertarian and then a leftist and then I'm actually just assessing the world based on how I'm assessing it, right? And that's the bigger picture, is like all these words, Republican, conservative, far right, whatever the fuck, like those are group labels, but then there's also the separate process of like, I am genuinely assessing the world in this way. I'm seeing what works and what doesn't, and these are my takes. That's different, and that's something y'all are not actually capable of. Circling back to the clownery, by the way, it's just so interesting because you present this situation, Dylan, like I'm a dancing monkey for Republicans or something, when in fact, you are a dancing monkey for all the entities controlling you, making sure that you're on the view, making sure that you're portraying a certain image of trans. An image that's really fucked up, that's really embarrassing, that's really cringe, and seems almost abusive towards you to even put you out there the way that your handlers have put you out there.
Day 3 of being a girl, and I've already become a bimbo.
I'm not paid by anybody. I'm not owned by anybody. You are. And that's clear. And that's fine. And that's everyone's bag and everyone's path is different. But for you to sit up here and act like you have not been like the #1 contributor to people disliking trans people more.
Like, genuinely?
That's very true. Dylan Mulvaney took down Bud Light with one TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
If you can take down an entire company by promoting that company in one TikTok, you're like the Black Plague for companies.
But they love it. They love it.
So it just proves that people like Dylan are toxic for any cause.
Especially the cause they're trying to fight for.
Exactly. I mean, look what happened. You fight, fight, fight. Go, Kamala. Trump won. Fight, 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 fight. Bud Light, dead in the water. Like, how many Americans boycotted Bud Light because of Dylan Mulvaney?
Oh, bunch.
So many.
Then you had the old-fashioned horse commercial coming out right after.
Yeah, because companies actually don't give a shit about these people. They just use them for their...
They thought it'd be good for Pride Month and then realized how bad they fucked up. Yeah.
Exactly. So then they started catering back to the regular man because they don't give a fuck about Dylan. They were just using him. And that's fine. That's fine if you want to make your money and be used, whatever. But don't pretend like you're some authentic being.
Don't think they chose you for you. They chose you for the idea that you represent in media.
Right. Because that's what was popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, genuinely, your presence, not just the Bud Light thing, but like your presence, Dylan, has created more transphobia than I've actually ever seen in my life. I remember the turning. Spring 2023 or whatever, early summer that you did the Bud Light thing. It was like all of a sudden, people who didn't even have an opinion on trans were walking in hot, just only seeing you. And it was embarrassing. It was a really bad look. No one is particularly proud of it, right? It's just the lack of self-awareness from these, especially the bigger trans influencers. It's like, if you guys are influencing anything, we can see the results, right? We can see the results of the kind of society you created around trans people, the types of moods and attitudes and opinions towards trans people that were never so unanimously negative. The amount of just like regular women on the internet that I see commenting on just say a random video you pops up or something about you, the amount of comments from just regular women who are like, I never had any issues with trans people and now I feel like I'm being mocked. I feel like I'm being ridiculed, or I feel like this is like woman face. Like, congrats to you for the creation of the term woman face, because I never heard that shit in my life. And now that's something that all of trans people are in a way taking on because of you. If we really want to analyze it and have a discussion, if we want to compare societal harm against trans people, what have I done? I feel like if I was just like a random person in the trans community and I was looking...
Here's the thing is that Blaire, regardless of Blaire's political...
leaning?
Yeah. Blaire has shown that people can be transsexual.
Yeah, just like Buck and a bunch of other creators.
And pass, right? Or be passing. People like Dylan have shown that trans people are just a mockery. They're cosplaying. They're making fun of people.
Dressing up as women.
They're bullying women. They're invading spaces. They don't care. They hate women. Shut up, women. I'm going into your bathroom anyway. I don't give a shit how you feel or what you think. They're just misogynistic men in a skirt, lipstick, and a bad Party City wig. That is what Dylan Mulvaney has proven to people that trans is.
And Lily Tino.
Exactly. People like them. So Blaire has actually done more of a service to the trans community.
I'm sure Blaire knows
Transsexuals as a whole.
The identity, the feeling you get when you see someone who's trans.
Right. Right. Because anytime I go out and I see someone who's trans,
You hope they're more like Blaire White than they are like
But
Dylan.
and it really all depends because you could kind of tell how someone is by how they carry themselves.
Sometimes.
How passing they are. Like, not all the time, of course.
Sometimes
yeah.
you get the crazies that look normal,
Right.
or the normals that look crazy.
But for normal people who like see like Dylan Mulvaney and they're like, oh, that's making fun of women and they're not used to watching people like Blaire and stuff. They see some trans person out in public, they're gonna be like, bad taste in their mouth, like you said.
It's a true statement. It's something that's used in other terms.
Yeah, no,
And I like Dylan Mulvaney and Blaire White. I may not like Blaire White. People don't like trans people because of Dylan Mulvaney. People, if anything, the craziest, most hardcore right-wing motherfucker, oftentimes you will see, I don't like trans people, but Blaire White's okay. And I'm sorry, that can seem like a shallow thing, but at least they have one, right? At least there's like one figure humanizing trans people to these people who otherwise are like, you fuck that. That is called a net positive. It's a very small one, and that's how bleak the situation is because of you guys, but you...
But here's the thing is those trans people don't give a shit. That's how much they don't believe in their cause. Because even if Blaire is doing something good, they don't like it.
Well, they don't like that it's not them doing it.
Exactly. That's the fucking thing.
That's how selfish they are.
That's what makes them even more reprehensible.
And the moral of today's video is that trans people are selfish, for the most part, and that Blaire White and Black Angel are giving the only bit of good to the name of transsexual possible.
Yeah. That's about it.
What did you think of the video?
Comment below.
Like the video and share it with a friend.
You can also subscribe and ring our bells.
Or you could share it with an enemy. I don't care where you share it. Just share it.
Yeah.
Share it. Print off a fucking QR code and post it at all your gas stations. Share our content. Bink bonk.